From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday led the 49th Philippine National Prayer Breakfast or PNPB at the Heroes Hall in Malacañang Palace. The 49th edition of the PNPB focuses on the crucial role that faith plays in inclusive leadership, drawing inspiration from the values of love, humility, and service to the people. Anchored on the role of prayer breakfast in encouraging personal transformation and collective action for the nation's welfare, this year's PNPB gathers various leaders and sectors to highlight the importance of unity amidst the nation's challenges. It also stresses the importance of prayers and the Word of God in the moral and spiritual growth of the country. Let us listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
His Excellency Tui Taisot, Ambassador of the Kingdom of Thailand to the Philippines, Special Assistant to the President for Investment and Economic Affairs, Secretary Frederick Go, and other members of the Cabinet, honorable members of the Philippine Congress, the Philippine National Prayer Breakfast Foundation Incorporated Chairman Raul Victorino, PNPB Foundation Incorporated President Jose Villanueva, former Chief Justice Renato Puno, Reverend Peter Tanji, officials and members of the PNPB Foundation Incorporated, my fellow workers in government, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This event, we are blessed once again as we hold this event, as it is a particularly appropriate time considering the challenges that our fellow Filipinos have been facing since October 21, when severe tropical storm Christine entered our area, and until today, as Typhoon Pepito crosses our archipelago. Our collective faith and prayer to the Almighty is the most powerful tool that we have to weather these storms and the destruction that they bring. And so it is with gratitude and a sense of purpose that I join this Philippine National Prayer Breakfast, or PNPB. The PNPB reminds us that leadership without faith is a ship without a compass. It will sail, but it will drift. True leadership, the kind that transforms people's lives for the better, is guided by wisdom and is rooted in faith and in God. And that's why, Reverend, when I pray, I only do two things in my prayers. I thank God for the blessings that we have already received, and I pray that He continues to bless me with wisdom, with compassion, and with the love of our country that will be forever undying. While our knowledge may guide our actions, it is divine wisdom, the kind that prayer instills, the kind that calls us to action anchored in moral clarity that illuminates our path. For almost half a century, this gathering has stood as a testament to the power of faith, one that transcends boundaries, binds us in hope, and serves as both compass and anchor for the leadership. It is in this shared space of reflection that we rediscover the courage to act decisively, the humility to listen intently, and the resolve to build a nation that reflects the best of what we are. The vision of the PNPB to unite in the Spirit of Christ, shaping our lives according to God's will, and working together to bring about the realization of God's reign in the Philippines is a clarion call to all who bear the responsibility of leadership, to look beyond the immediate, to aspire to what is enduring, to what is righteous. The PNPB has been a cornerstone of national reflection, a moment when leaders set aside titles and agenda and come together as equals in prayer. In a world where the pace of change can outstrip our capacity to care for others, such moments of collective introspection are more crucial than ever. The world and our country are facing so much divisiveness in belief, in politics, even generational and cultural differences. These often make us forget our humanity, that we are one in our shared goal to serve our fellow Filipinos, to help the Philippines flourish. The mission of the PNPB to inspire leaders to embrace prayer, reflect on God's word, and lead with integrity is a reminder that leadership demands accountability to a greater, much higher standard. Let us ensure that in every decision, in every action, the spirit of love, mercy, and humility is present. To all the future leaders amongst us, let us remember this. Faith is a beacon for the future. Let it guide you as you navigate the uncharted waters of leadership. You will draw courage from it when faced with doubt. It will temper your ambition with a sense of purpose greater than self. Let us bequeath to the next generation a leadership culture that values integrity over expediency, vision over short-term goals, and harmony over discord. Today, I extend an invitation to recommit. Recommit to the responsibility of service imbued with faith, where decisions are made not in haste, but with prayerful discernment. Let us renew our pledge to seek divine wisdom, to build bridges where there are divides, and to lead with conviction. Our nation's best days are ahead of us. With God's grace, we can achieve this bagong Pilipinas of peace, unity, and lasting prosperity. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipinas.
You just heard Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Sunday said it is up to local chief executives on whether government work and classes will be suspended in their localities as Super Typhoon Pepito pummeled Luzon. In a statement, the Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, said, upon consultation with the relevant government agencies and the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, cancellation of classes and or suspension of working government offices is given to the respective local chief executives, taking into consideration the situation in their respective localities. Several local government units, or LGUs, have declared class and government work suspension for Monday due to inclement weather caused by the super typhoon. The sixth tropical cyclone to hit the Philippines in a month, Pepito has dumped torrential rains and unleashed typhoon-force winds over majority of Luzon and parts of Visayas since Friday. The tropical cyclone triggered flooding in several areas, especially in the Bicol region, which was battered by severe tropical storm Christine late October. According to the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, Pipito made landfall over Aurora Province on Sunday afternoon. It crossed the northern portion of central Luzon and the southern portion of northern Luzon, where it weakened when it barreled through the upland regions of Sierra Madre, Caraballo, and Cordillera. Pepito is expected to exit the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR, on Monday afternoon.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang over the weekend released the roster of newly appointed ambassadors and other officials in 12 other government agencies. Based on the list of new appointees, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. designated Patrick Chuasoto as Philippine Ambassador to Sweden with concurrent jurisdiction over Latvia. The President also appointed Eduardo Jose de Vega as Philippine Ambassador to France, holding a concurrent jurisdiction over Monaco. Christopher Montero, on the other hand, was named Philippine Ambassador to India, rather Indonesia. Meanwhile, the Chief Executive reappointed Leonor Cleofas as the Administrator and Chief Executive Officer of the Metropolitan Waterworks and Sewerage System, or MWSS, and Elpidio Vega as its chairperson. Cleofas will also serve as member of the MWSS Board of Trustees along with Vega, Merly Cruz, Dale Bryan-Go, and Jose Hernandez. President Marcos also tapped Ricky Gerald Brieva and Joshua Agustin Soriano as Presidential Legislative Liaison Officer 3 and Ray Zarate Jr. as Presidential Legislative Liaison Officer 2 at the Presidential Legislative Liaison Office under the Office of the President. Maria Amifaith Fider Reyes was named member of the Commission on Human Rights, while Nasser Halipa was appointed as a member of the Department of Agrarian Reform, or DAR, Adjudication Board, representing agrarian reform beneficiaries. The Philippine President also appointed Rogelio Chavez Jr. as member of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority Board, representing the labor sector. President Marcos Jr. also tapped Danton Bueser and Jose Marie Ponce as board members of the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority Board of Directors. Bueser will represent the national government and Ponce the private sector. Other newly appointed officials were Lorna Belinda Calda, Department of Agriculture Director 3, Gerson Marvin Abisamis and Graciela Mendoza, Department of Education, both Director 4, Ricky Arzadon and Vicente Leocadio Mariano Abelia, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Directors 4 and 3 respectively. Sabiniano Caliao Jr., Department of Public Works and Highways, Director 3. Jericho Namoro, Department of Trade and Industry, Director 3, and Ernesto Rafael Robillo, Land Transportation Office, Director 2.
Dateline Malacañang.
In other news, the Philippines Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is set to receive an additional 5 billion pesos in funding for its assistance to individuals in crisis situation, or IX program, as part of the government's immediate response to the needs of communities ravaged by the series of typhoons and other calamities. The Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has approved the release of the Special Allotment Release Order, or SARO, and its corresponding Notice of Cash Allocation for the IX program on November 15th. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman said the additional funding would help individuals severely affected by the recent typhoons to recover. In a DBM release Monday, Pangandaman said the DBM is sustaining its support for vulnerable and marginalized communities by bridging the resource gap required for extensive disaster recovery and sustained support throughout the nation. The IX program is a critical component of DSWD's services, providing essential support such as medical, burial, transportation, education, and food assistance, along with financial aid for other urgent needs of individuals and families in crisis. The DBM noted that the additional funds are under the special provisions in the 2024 General Appropriations Act concerning the use of unprogrammed appropriations, which may be tapped for vital infrastructure and social programs, including financial aid for needy citizens, contingent upon the availability of new or excess revenue collections.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines House of Representatives on Sunday said it is ready to release funds that will serve as assistance to areas or congressional districts affected by Super Typhoon Pepito. House Speaker Martin Romualdez said they are just waiting on the report of fellow House members on the damage caused to their respective districts so that funds can be released for the typhoon victims. Romualdez added that members of Congress whose districts were affected by the typhoon were expected to submit their request for financial assistance Monday. In a separate statement, Romualdez bared that a relief caravan under the Tabang Bicol Tindog Oragon Relief Program was set to leave for the Bicol region to provide support to communities in the provinces of Camarines Norte, Camarines Sur, and Albay as they recover from the devastation caused by Pepito as well as previous typhoons Christine and Karina. 3 activities were lined up during the relief effort, including financial assistance payouts, a mini Bagong Pilipinas Servicio Fair or BPSF, and the distribution of relief goods. Distribution of financial aid will start on Monday, coursed through the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD's Assistance for Individuals in Crisis Situations or IX program. Meanwhile, the mini BPSF is scheduled to be held in several venues, including the Jesse Robredo Coliseum in Naga City, Cafuerte Sports Complex in Pili, and BUPC Gymnasium in Polangi on Thursday, November 21st. Around 10,000 beneficiaries are expected in each location that will also offer vital government services, including housing, healthcare, and livelihood programs.
Dateline Malacañang.
The United Nations World Food Program, or WFP, over the weekend announced that the South Korean government has contributed a total of 30 million pesos of critical cash assistance to the Philippines to help typhoon-impacted communities as the country braves through numerous severe weather disturbances this month. Together with the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, the WFP distributed the aid to 14,500 registered households with children under the age of 5 in the DSWD's Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps. In a statement, the WFP said, citing South Korean ambassador to the Philippines, Lee Sang-hwa, the Republic of Korea government hopes that this assistance will support the recovery of the affected areas and help residents in those areas swiftly return to their daily lives. According to the WFP, families in the provinces of Albay and Camarines Sur who were severely affected by severe tropical storm Christine will receive 3,000 pesos in cash for 2 consecutive months for their immediate needs. This is on top of the food and non-food items provided by the national government when the typhoon struck their respective areas. WFP Philippines representatives and country director Regis Chapman expressed its appreciation to the Republic of Korea for their timely support, enabling WFP to reach people within days through cash transfers. Severe tropical storm Christine caused widespread flooding across Luzon and Visayas, with the Bicol region most severely affected.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippine government targets to achieve zero casualty in the wake of Super Typhoon Pepito. Office of Civil Defense or OCD Chairperson and Department of National Defense or DND Secretary Gilberto Chodoro Jr. made the statement following the severe damage brought about by the super typhoon, especially in the province of Catanduanes as well as northern Luzon. OCD Executive Director Undersecretary Ariel Nepomuceno emphasized the importance of preemptive evacuation implemented by local government units or LGUs to achieve their target. According to Nepomuceno, because of their coordinated efforts in partnership with LGUs, 1.24 million individuals were successfully evacuated. Among these were affected residents in the regions of Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, Calabarzon, Mimaropa, and Eastern Visayas. Nepomuceno added residents were cooperative, which prevented possible harm. After the evacuation, the OCD, along with LGUs, will now concentrate on extending assistance to affected families.
Dateline Malacañang.
And finally, former Philippine Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary and senatorial aspirant Benher Abalos said, due to the Sierra Madre mountain range in Luzon, millions of Filipino lives were saved, and its preservation must be included in the government's disaster mitigation program. Abalos said Sierra Madre has proven that it is not just a mountain range, but the country's shield, the country's defense against powerful storms which cause floods, landslides, and storm surges. Stretching 540 kilometers and standing 6,283 feet tall, Sierra Madre is the longest mountain range in the Philippines, which runs from the province of Cagayan down to the province of Quezon. The mountain range is widely believed to serve as a typhoon barrier for Luzon, which tempers down storms coming from the Pacific Ocean. Abalos said without the Sierra Madre, many communities along the eastern seaboard would face even greater risk from typhoons and heavy rainfall. The senatorial aspirant called on the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, to conduct an investigation on alleged illegal logging activities in the area and urged them to safeguard the mountain range against all forms of exploitation.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, Radyo Pilipinas World Service of the Presidential Broadcast Service is heard over the following shortwave frequencies: 9.475 MHz, 15.640 MHz, and 17.820 MHz. You can also visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.